Welcome everyone to Sharing Soulful Stories. Today I am here with Melinda Adams. Welcome, Melinda.
Hi.
So I'm going to just let everyone know a little bit more about Melinda. Melinda is an international energy intuitive, spiritual teacher and mentor. She specializes in nutrition, health and living a life of surrender, purpose and flow. Melinda's passion is teaching her clients how to align their lives with the higher forces of the universe. Melinda also helps her clients to decipher the language of their own intuition and body. Melinda has been working in the field of spirituality and healing for the past 20 years, the last 10 of these having her own full-time spiritual consulting practice. It is so amazing to have you with us today, Melinda, somebody who is very much in touch with her spirituality. And I would love to open us up today to ask you, what does spirituality mean to you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jo. Thanks for doing this. This is a wonderful project that you're doing and sharing with the world. So good on you. Spirituality to me, I guess, is everything. It's my life. It's my work, and has been since my early 20s, really. So to me, it's the meaning of life. It's love. It's wisdom. It's empowerment. I feel it's where everything that's on the planet originates from. So the more we can get in touch with that level of ourselves and of life, we're getting in touch with our truth and, of course, our love and compassion and all the good things that we want to give ourselves and share with each other and with the planet. So to me, I guess in one word, it's everything. Everything.
Amazing. And I love that you that you dropped in there that it's where everything originates from. I quite like that sort of that everything sense to, like the most expansive definition of spirituality I think that we've had shared so far. So fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And I wonder, given that you now have this amazing sense of what spirituality means to you, has spirituality always been part of your life? Or was there some sort of trigger event or anything that caused you to open this door?
Well, as a child, which I think a lot of children have it, I remember watching coloured orbs flying around the room. I could sense energy around people, and I was extremely sensitive to those levels of life. But then, of course, as you get older, you go to school. It's not really something that, as a teenager, all of those things, you shut it down. You don't really want that. But then I guess there was a few awakenings that were quite large for me that happened apart from each other. The first being, I think I was 18 and I had my licence and I was driving in the car by myself, and I got to a giveaway sign and I was waiting to go, and all of a sudden energy just went down over my whole body. I thought, and I hadn't been thinking about things like this before. This was the first moment kind of after being shut down for years. I went, oh my God, my great-grandmother's in the back seat of the car. Just boom, came into my head, and oh, Nana's there, and so that was quite a blast open of the third eye and of the crown and all the senses. So from there I started to do some research, looking into all different areas of spirituality, learning about energy healing, and just kind of starting to, but I did find that if I went too far into it, things would blast open really quickly and give me I found it quite overwhelming sometimes because I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. So I'd pull it back a little bit. And then, of course, through synchronistic events that were divinely aligned, I ended up studying Reiki on the other side of the country when I'd already had a book by the people that I was taught by. So I ended up getting aligned to them through synchronistic events, not by looking for them. Obviously I was meant to read the book and then I was meant to study with them. And I did my Reiki 1, and of course that just opened layers and layers and layers. As Reiki aligns, for those that don't know, Reiki really opens your channels and helps to align your energy to those higher frequencies using symbols and using ancient techniques. Anyhow, the further I went into the Reiki, with my Reiki 2 alignment, that was it. It was like the curtain was pulled back. I could see people standing around people everywhere. I could see what was wrong in people's bodies. Which of course for a 26-year-old, I think I was at that point, it was like, whoa, my friends are playing music, they're going to the pub, they're doing all these type of things, and here I am, able to sense spirit everywhere. And by then I had clients coming to me, and that was quite, for a 26-year-old, quite an overwhelming experience. So it took a few years to really integrate that in, and of course by doing that, also I guess when we open up ourselves, we also start to clear out any levels and layers that aren't relevant. So I was also going through all the personal journey at the same time. So I guess, other than other little things in between that, they were probably the biggest moments for me, where all of a sudden I was in a new world. And that world was very energetic and it was very real to me. Of course, I was questioning my sanity a lot along the way. But the more I researched and the more I, spoke with people, I realised that this was something natural, and really it's where we're all meant to be. We're all meant to be able to trust our senses, go with our flow, feel like we're one with the universe and that we're being supported by the universe, and, really, I guess, be in tune with what our true essence is. So I think, it's a natural place of being. And obviously I was meant to be doing this work, so that's why it happened that way for me. It's not going to happen that way for everyone. Everyone's different, as you're, sharing with the world. Everybody's different stories, but that was mine. Yeah. And then, of course, I kind of popped it aside in the back of my mind for a little bit too, some of the things that happened, because, just having to process it all, I guess, because it is such a big jump in your reality.
Wow. That's, I'm sure people will find that actually super interesting. That there's definitely going to be people watching, whether they find this one though, maybe they won't find this particular interview.
Exactly. If they're meant to, they will.
Exactly. For those that did or can remember seeing beings or orbs or lights, and and potentially thinking, am I crazy, am I going insane, hearing you describe that, I know will just be really reassuring and comforting. My neighbours have just started, there's gardeners somewhere, there is this massively loud noise outside.
Okay, it's not disturbing
you can't hear it? Okay, fantastic.
But I will say that my 4-year-old son is now seeing orbs, and he says, "What's that, Mama?" And I say, "That's your angels, darling." Yeah, so it's nice to be able to describe that to him as he sees them. And so hopefully he won't shut down.
Yeah, that's right. That's so interesting you say that, because just the call before this, the lady was talking of that exact thing, and then not having someone to guide you through it, that, you shut it down.
And that was our times, when we grew up. It was, there would have been limited amount of that in the consciousness. Whereas now, with all us being mums, these kids can, stay in it and stay in their power, which is awesome.
I hope so. I would love to hear, so you've given us a real beautiful flavour of that moment when you sensed your grandmother in the back seat of the car. Can you share a bit more about your story though, and that any highs and lows that stand out that people might feel connected to? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I guess for me, a lot of my highs come either when I'm working, I'm in meditation, or in nature. And I guess, that's when I'm really allowing myself to be the most open. So the highs come when you're in your most sensitive, vulnerable, open state, which of course we're taught, aren't we, not to be, because of all the dangers and what might happen if you open yourself up too much. But I do find that when I'm completely open, my heart's open, my mind's open, my senses are all open, that's when I really feel that vibration of love in the atmosphere, which I believe is, my interpretation is that's what God is, or that's whatever word that you want to use, spirit, divine, whatever. So my highs have been in meditation, or when I'm working with people and I'm feeling that energy in them. And I find still, I can be talking to someone down the street. Sometimes it's embarrassing because, they might not know they might not be open to those levels or whatever. But the minute I feel that love come in, I can get the teary eyes and I can get the tingles, and it's just my body kind of going, yes, this is the truth about life. This is why we're here. This is how we should be connecting with people. And then, of course, as I said, with nature, so I guess everybody would know that when you're in nature, your defences are down a lot more, you're a lot more open. And you feel, unless you're afraid of nature for some reason, but you feel recharged, because nature obviously is a consciousness. It's always open, it's always giving to us. So we're able to it's like tuning forks, we're able to kind of get into that space more easily in that environment, which is why it's really healthy for us all to get out in nature and to, and to meditate. It's great. Meditation's wonderful for all the things it can do inside your body, and you can look at the science behind that and everything it does for our health. But of course the main point of it is that we connect with the oneness of the universe. So I would say they're my main highs. They're actually more inner highs rather than, those things that have happened where I've opened up. As I said, various things along the way are great. But my main highs are when that love really sits in my heart. That gets me the most. That's what keeps me going with it all. It's almost like a drug in a way, It's the love is the drug, isn't that a song?
I love what you've described in there, because what you've touched on, or what you've expressed so beautifully, is something that is true and real for me, in terms of I know the feeling that you're talking about when you feel that that you're sitting in that vibration of unconditional love, and the way you describe it, then that concept of being open and almost at our most vulnerable, but yet being in this most beautiful, and I want to use the word like a somatic, it's an actual sort of sensory experience in your body, yet one that makes you almost, or for me, feel like an energetic or, being, rather than, but you're kind of still in your body having this very real experience of something that is beyond your physical body, So I loved that. Yeah. Thank you.
I feel that that's what happens when we transcend into the other realms after we leave this lifetime. And I think that when we can be that, so we're going to go there anyway, but I think if we can be that while we're actually, that's the trick, while we're on the planet, bring the two together. Yeah.
I love that. And my body just gave me a reminder, as it broke out in full body goosebumps there, as you talk about that, that I also loved that idea that, when you're in it, your body can sort of tell you. And you've touched on, and I want to say this purely because it's come up, the word resonance has come up in lots of these interviews, and I feel there could be a little bit of spiritual jargon there for people that are less familiar with the term, like what does that actually mean? And you threw in there that idea of tuning forks, and I love that, that you bang on one and they all sort of find their harmony and it is almost like your body's a tuning fork, and it's tuning again to its true harmony. So all of those, thank you for raising all of those points. I hope I've expressed it in the way that I haven't put words in.
I was just thinking of something else. I didn't want to go on too long. But,
I do.
It reminds me, you know, when you see all the little sunflowers and they're all turning towards the light, and I feel like our cells in our bodies just go towards the light. It's like every little cell goes, happy.
Fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, love it. That's a beautiful image. For people that are more visual, that's a beautiful image, actually. That, oh, yes, this feels good. That, let's face that way. North Star over here.
That's right.
And so what you are in touch with, I won't use the words necessarily abilities, or because I believe that you think, as I do, that everybody has the potentiality for these gifts that you have access to. But I would love to know, for somebody that is able to use those gifts in the way that you can, how you weave spirituality into your life and your work. I mean, you've sort of said that it is everything, but are there more practical things and ways that you support that connection?
Well, for me personally, I find that speaking to the universe really helps to align and I guess that's why people would have prayed, you know, in traditional religious, different religions. But I find when I really speak from the heart to the universe, the answers will come. So I'll often start the day waking up and asking to be aligned to my highest good, that I can actually hopefully uplift or share, you know, good energy with everyone I come in. And so I'll really kind of set the intention for the day when I first get up. I feel like I'm going to go through my day, so I will.
Yeah, too.
So
great.
So next I'll get up and I'll actually just kind of let my body, not go limp, but I'll relax my body and, you know, just ask that the energy kind of moves me. And so I'll find I've got, you know, I'm doing some stretches, or I'm just letting my body naturally, without thought, clear the mind, without thought, kind of find its balance and get it where it wants to be. And then we'll move on to food. And so I'll really tune in and ask my body, you know, what do you want? Do I want porridge? Do I want fresh fruit? Do I want kefir? And in what order? So I really try to tune into, you know, what is going to give me, you know, the best, what my body's needing that day, what will make it the happiest. And then I'll usually do that, you know, for the rest of the family as well, kind of tune in, today I think I'll get them some porridge. And if I'm having trouble for some reason, you know, if I'm a bit tired, or Bodhi's there and he's chitty-chatting, you know, I'm having trouble getting into that space, I'll often use the pendulum as well. I find the pendulum's a great technique to use to check food, or to check, you know, if there's particular things for choices. So they're small things, but I do find that by setting that energy for the day, it then helps me keep that energy going during the day. And then so I'll also tune into things, when's the right time to call someone or go out and do something. So just really finding that flow, finding that energy that feels the most optimum for the day. Of course, there's going to be times when that doesn't happen. You know, life throws things at you. But then, you know, you just do what you can and get back on the horse again. So for me, it's just being aware that there is a particular level of living, or a particular vibration, that if we can connect with that, it, you know, makes everything else flow more easily. Yeah.
I actually, I hear in that, it gives me a sense as to, you know, the potential of our intuition and feeling into what serves us and what doesn't serve us. And I can actually see that if you do simple things like that, that's one way into not just hearing your intuition, but trusting it and actually, doing that thing. Okay, I really thought I wanted porridge, but this morning, actually, I just really feel that fresh fruit is going to serve me better. That, with practice, because it does feel like a practice to become more in touch with it. Yeah, that's it. And if we've been ignoring it for a really long time, then little things like that are a great way to go, okay, just slow down.
Well, early on I would do it, even going food shopping. I'd stand there and think, okay, now which product or which, and I swear you think, oh gosh, they probably think I'm nicking something. I'm standing here this long trying to work it out. But it did. It actually would refine it. And then, of course, it's like, once you've got that template, then you can pick that up and take it and use it for big things, like where should I be living? Where does my body want to live? Is my body happy near the water? Not just where's the best block of land or what's closest to the schools. That might be part of it, and that might be what your body's needing. But you actually, you need to be able to trust your body as the divine instrument it is. We do know energy is in us. It's good to gather the information on the outside. It's good to learn things, but then from that work out, okay, which one works for me? Which one feels right for me? Or which one feels right for my kids? And it is. It's refining a skill. And then once you've got it, there is that period of learning it. There is that period of, oh my gosh, did I get that right? Back and forthing, analysing what your choice was and what the result was. But once you kind of get through that, then, you don't have to kind of go back. It's not hard anymore. It's not as much of an effort. It becomes a lot easier. And it becomes a lot easier just to switch it on. Yeah, and to switch it on in the middle of a busy supermarket when you're deciding what to cook for dinner, or to switch it on when you've got things being thrown at you by life, so it's being able to maintain it, in the midst of life. We can all get pretty intuitive if we went and sat and meditated on the mountain, for a month. We'd all be pretty good, no matter who you are. It's living in really Western society in a way, integrating it in and keeping that kind of that higher power alive in every day. And I think, that every day is as important as the big choices as well. It's all part of who we are.
Yeah, I actually, I love that you touched on integration there, because I feel that's almost like that's the challenge of today. Those that are, there was almost a spirituality in the past was often going away and meditating on a mountain, or joining a convent, or giving up all your worldly possessions and going and serving in some way. There was a real, almost like whilst that was a deeply connection and service, there was a disconnecting to the way that life has grown around us. Whereas now it really feels like, okay, for me anyway, how do I bring this into everything that I do?
That's right. Yeah. I feel that's what's happening on the planet now. It's about bringing the two together, so they're not, and it's about bringing lots of things together. Yeah. But those are two things that are coming. So we're moving more into a time of oneness. And yeah, sometimes I think, I'd love to go and live in an ashram. It'd be easier. But that I know deep inside me that's not what I'm meant to be doing. And I think there's a lot of us obviously that aren't meant to be doing it that way at this stage on the planet's development. So it's all about being here and being in the energy and helping the consciousness of the planet to move forward as well. So it's about us, but it's also about the whole. And as much as there's, it is a bit of a harder path to bring the two together, but it's definitely the path, I believe.
I also did go and live in an ashram just for 4 days and did a mindfulness retreat. And actually it wasn't that easy. This blaring chanting waking you at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I get that this felt easy. And actually, it's a real surrender into this is what's going on. Okay, all right.
That's true.
Thank you. No, that's
the whole point, though, I think, that they had to give up their human level and completely surrender.
That's it. Yeah.
Not as easy for us. Yeah.
No, well, that's true. Maybe we've been exposed to a different way of life where that level of simplicity was really a great way to learn to be more mindful. With everything you've shared, and I know that I personally feel that if I was watching this, I'd be so curious to know more about you and what you can do and what you can see and all of those types of questions. And I can't help but wonder whether some people that have had insight into that or that type of experience may be the ones that actually find themselves watching this video. But I wondered for somebody that is ready to open a bit more to spirituality and discover what might be inside for them. Do you have any advice for somebody earlier in this?
Yeah, sure. I really feel that no matter what stage of our journey we're on, the universe is always talking to us and guiding us. So if something repeatedly comes back to you, somebody mentions the same book 2 or 3, 4 times, then the universe is trying to tell you to read that. If you keep having dreams or in your own mind getting, something dropping in, like you need to call such and such or go for a holiday to this place or whatever it is, if it comes in a few times, it's really, do that. And I also feel there is so much out there, and so many wonderful things out there. There's so many wonderful people out there. But it's about finding what's right for you at that time in your journey. So you could jump too far ahead and if your body's not, your mind might say, wow, I'd love to know that, or that'd be so good, or, that person seemed, but you've got to go with what you're wanting. It might be what you want, but it might be that you're wanting something else. So it's really feeling if something expands you, feeling if something makes you feel light, and basically by saying that I mean I guess that your soul or your energy body is saying yes, that feels good, but if it seems to shut the energy body down, then it's not the right path, so look for something else. So no matter what's out there or what other people are doing, I think it's really important to come back to what you're wanting, what your soul, what your energy, what your guides, all that level of life, spirit is telling you. So that would be my main thing. I've got something else coming in, so let me just tune into what the other thing is it's trying to say. Making sure you actually have time, you devote time to that every day. So whether you make a little altar or you have a little meditation space or you like to go and sit under a tree or whatever it is, but making sure that you actually give it time and space in your life as a regular. And by doing that, I guess to yourself and to the universe, you're showing, yes, that's what I want, and yes, I'm dedicated to this level of myself and of life. But also it is exercising those, that we're saying, it's exercising those higher sensory parts of yourself. It's helping you to solidify and make stronger, because I feel it, and I noticed on my journey, even though I had those big, times of awakening and other things, it was more of a pendulum effect. I'd still go back to my kind of programmed human. Then I'd come back to feeling light and bright and who I was, and then I'd go back. And then eventually it got, what I mean, the scales tip. So by giving it that time and space and by exercising it, will just really help to solidify that and make, get into it easier with more flow and more solid. Mm.
Oh, I love that you say that. And I'm not surprised that dropped in because I just did a call with Shauna prior to this one, and actually it was after we stopped recording, but we were talking about that, having a daily devotional practice. I'd pulled a card and I'd literally was like, it's easy when you're a parent to fall back into, I don't have time for that. Where does it fit? There's children around a lot. And I was admitting to her, I used to meditate religiously every day, often twice a day. And lately, in the Christmas holidays, school holidays, it's really fallen away. And I allowed myself to feel that, well, I feel quite connected all the time. So, I'm not going to beat myself up about not doing it. But at the moment, I'm feeling called into honouring some, really carving out that space and time every day for that. And as you pointed out, maybe it was someone else pointed out, it doesn't need to be masses of time, but a regular devotional time. So thank you. That's great and really beautiful. And probably as much for me as from anyone else that's watching the call. So I did want to finish by just asking, for those that are curious in connecting with you or finding out more about what you do, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Okay. Well, basically I usually operate at word of mouth is how it all flows for me. So I have it should be connected to this. There'll be a website, not a website, sorry, an email address connected. But I've also just been guided to join Facebook as well. So that'll be connected there too, that you can get that information.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll put both of those.
They're the main two ways.
Fabulous. And I can highly recommend having a session with Melinda because she helped me get more in touch with my intuition, definitely. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing what I think I've done about 16 of these so far. And you're the first person to bring, maybe not quite, but that with what you do, it is quite unique in terms of who's here. So I'm so grateful that you came and shared that with us today.
Well, thank you for asking me. And I just think, honestly, it's just wonderful what you're doing, and I can just see you sparkling. I think you're definitely guided with what you're doing, and the people that come to you will be guided as well. So it just feels perfect.
Thank you. It's so beautiful. I will, thank you. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.